taking a prepayment in Bookmanager can be done in many ways. Today I'll show you how we do it at our bookstore, Mosaic Books. First thing you want to do is create an order. So let's look up a book. Let's do Ferret for Dummies. Why not? And so we found a book and Wiley has it in stock. So I'm going to make that order. So we're going to order it from Wiley. We'll do one copy. And just like a normal customer order, we'll need a name. So I'm just going to do Smithy Smithers. Why not? So we'll add a new customer. Great. And so what we often do at our bookstore is add a note to the order saying that it is prepaid. So we'll often say prepaid. Oop, spelled correctly, prepaid. With our store too, we oftentimes show what supplier we're ordering it from and the price, the prepaid price. So we can figure that out now, or we can do it in the next step. So if we wanted to figure it out now, I use the handy dandy calculator. So that's an F7 anywhere in Bookmanager. You can press F7. And at this point I know, okay, $19.99 is the price, and I'm going to times it by the tax. So 5% GST on books in BC. So you'll know your taxation on books, so I can just times this by 1.05 to know that it's going to be $20.99 with the taxes. Because, if you're prepaying for a book, you want to prepay for the full amount. Oh, and I actually even got the price wrong here. It's actually $23.99 from Wiley. So we'll go back here, F7, $23.99. And I'm going to multiply it by 5%. So that's $25.19 is the total. So $25.19. Again, this can be done in this step, or you can do it in the next step. So I'll show you how it's done there as well. But with the order saved, now we're going to jump into the point of sale. So the point of sale is where we record the prepayment. So we can go into the point of sale and bring up the customer. So I'm just going to bring up Smithy again. And in this step, you don't have to sell an ISBN or, pre-sell anything. And that's the big key here with pre-selling the Mosaic way, or prepaying the Mosaic way, is you don't pre-sell the book. We like to only sell the book when it's left the store in the customer's hand. Otherwise, we're just creating a payment on account for the order. So in this step, we can choose to basically just make a prepayment in the next tendering screen. Or if you'd like, you can list the ISBN here as well. If you want a record of what they were prepaying for, it can be recorded in this screen. So if you have the ISBN or you wanted to do a search, we could find this book and input it in this area. And instead of selling it, we're going to choose the option back ordered out of stock. This will allow us to have the entry here in the point of sale without actually adding to the total. So if you notice, the total isn't affected by a 1B, a back ordered item sold. So we're not pre-selling the book. This is simply a way to indicate that this item is what the prepayment was applied to. But again, this step here is not necessary. It's not going to change anything either way. It's more just a type of communication for your staff and maybe your customer. So with or without the book entered here, we can head over to the tendering screen, and this is where we make the prepayment. So this is where we can go up to on account. And if you're not selling anything, by default, the tendering option will change to payment on account instead of saying on account. So payment on account means you're putting a credit on the account, whereas if it says on account, that means you're charging the account. So if this doesn't automatically switch over, you can always use the minus key on your keyboard to toggle a tendering option. So with payment on account, we can then F7 to bring up the calculator again, and this will display the total we typed in before. So we could do it, in this step. So if you remember the total from before, $23.99, you could have used the calculator to figure that out here. Or again, I had it saved for my previous step. So I'm going to enter in $25.19. And then I can arrow down to the payment method. So whatever method they're using, we can, apply that payment. So if I finalize that transaction, what you're now going to see is this book not being sold, but being back ordered. This is the amount before taxes, but we're seeing a payment on account for $25.19 paid by Visa. And you can see their account has a credit for $25.19. So this will always show up if this customer shops again, or when they go to pick up the book, this will show up on their account. So this book, for example, has come in now. So, normally you'd come in here, you look up the customer, you scan the book, and you get the special order on screen. So when the customer actually comes to pick up the book, you can simply edit the sale just like normal. And then when you go to tendering, instead of requiring a tender, a cash or a payment, you can go up to on account. This here should match the prepayment amount that you've made, so $25.19, and and you can basically finalize the sale, and that will then clear the the credit on account. So if we look at the customer's account, if we go into 6 for customers and A for AR, we can get a kind of a history, a paper trail of what happened. We can see a line item here for when the book was originally ordered and the prepayment was made. And then we can see a line item for when that credit was used when the customer picked up the book. So this will eliminate any confusion as to, if you were pre-selling a book and simply just holding it behind the desk, and when the customer picks it up, they just leave. We used to do that for years and years at Mosaic Books. We used to pre-sell the book and just have it sitting behind the counter when it came in. The issue with that is we had too many instances where the customer would come to pick up the book and the book would not be there, or there was some sort of confusion about, I sent my sister to pick it up, but she never, gave it to me, or I don't, there was always some sort of confusion because there was no record or paper trail in the system showing when the book was picked up. We just saw the original sale for the book. So this way, it gives you a clear indication that when the prepayment happened, and then when the book was picked up by the customer. I hope you found this helpful and think about implementing it in your own store. It takes a few more steps and a little bit of training, but since we switched over to this method at our own bookstore, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, we've had little to no confusion when it comes to prepaying and whether someone has picked anything up.